And good evening, everybody, and welcome to the second round of our Gold Star Championship, utilizing the beautiful XJR 15 mod that was a scratch build at HSO from a couple of years back. And I am joined in the booth by Alberto Ibañez and Jonatan Acerclinth. Gentlemen, good evening.
Good evening, everybody.
Yes.
Good evening, everybody.
So the cars are on track right now, going through the final moments of qualifying, I believe. And that means that we will be moving on to a warm-up session. This is a AMS conversion of the Jaguar XJR 15 mod that was initially spearheaded by Ben Pollitt and physics created by Richard Wilkes. My goodness, that's a huge cut on the track there. With number 5 there. I'm going to have to bring up the entry list because, of course, the challenge, well, I can just do a tab. Because all of these cars, more or less, look like that was Peter Hlavik. So we will keep the tabs on during the race to aid not only you, but us in identifying the cars. So this is going to be a short race tonight, just 20 laps. And it's the second round in our Gold Star Series. What do you guys think we can expect tonight?
Well, it's going to be certainly a very competitive race because the cars are all the same. This is a spec series because the cars were essentially that. They were constructed by Jaguar. It's the first car ever to have, the first street car ever to have a full body made of carbon fiber. It was to showcase the technology that had already given Jaguar the victory at Le Mans in the late 80s and early 90s with Tom Walkins's show. And those were really difficult, hard to drive cars. There is a video at YouTube where Tiffany Dull is trying one of those cars, and he was explaining that the big problem with this car was that the rear tires were made on molds that were actually conceived for the Ferrari F14, another supercar of the era, and they degraded well very quickly, so that meant basically oversteer. There is Tiffany Dull fighting with the car. He actually drove later in the series, and his car is also represented in this mode. But I mean, it's certainly not an easy car to drive. It's very, very quick. It's heavy because it's still a somehow streetable car, and it's the same for everybody. So we're going to see lots of rear slide here and power slides and very, very close fights.
Yeah, this car, even though it had a carbon fiber chassis, it was very sophisticated in terms of weight, but it was definitely not sophisticated in terms of aerodynamics. This car had like almost zero downforce in the back. That little wing that you guys see on the back of the car didn't do a hell of a lot. And you really should watch that video that Alberto just mentioned with Tiffany Dull, because he's really having a hard time getting these cars around Silverstone. Jonatan, what is your? Have you driven this mod before? I think you might have once.
I did give it a quick spin earlier today just to see what it's like, and as Alberto said, it's a lot of sideways driving, and that is sort of to be expected with what you said about the downforce, and also the fact that it's a 450 bhp engine, Jaguar engine in the car, so it produces quite a bit of torque and quite a bit of power.
So we got about 4 minutes left in qualifying, then we'll go into the warm-up session. Let's take a quick look at the driver's standings for the Gold Star Series. And it's pretty simple because we've only had one race so far, and that was when we did the 1973 Formula Fords. Actually, that was at Silverstone too, but that was at the old layout that used just the perimeter road and runways. Austin Johnson leads the Gold Star Championship with 5 points. Yves Placé with 4 is in second. David Jakes is third with 3 points. Juha Boss is fourth with 2. And Martin Lacine is fifth with 1 point. The track map itself, Silverstone. This was the first year in 1991 that Silverstone used the more road course-oriented layout, which I'm sure was polarizing at the time. Certain people welcomed the different challenge. Others thought it was betraying the original spirit of the circuit. If you want to have road racing, go to Brands Hatch, they would probably have said. for Donington. But nevertheless, this is the layout that appeared in 1991. If you look on the track there, you can see the light gray areas there. Those are the runways from the original airfield.
I personally am with those who think that the track was better before. But that's just because it was a very quick track with somehow a very personal spirit. This looks more like another of Herman Tilke's Formula One tracks.
Well, I think the one thing that made the changes, weather changes they made in '91, was the complex of changing Luffield and adding the last what was that 4 or 5 corners after the bridge. But then again, that also offered up quite good overtaking opportunities for later years, especially when touring car racing came here, and of course a few exceptional thrills and spills.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how this race pans out. I mean, there's not going to be a lot of time for people to wait and see what happens and if they can come to the front. But on the other hand, you know, you can't push these cars too hard or you're going to have a spin. So you'll have those two kind of working against them. You want to push hard and go to the front, but at the same time, you know what the consequences are if you make a mistake.
It's always very hard to pass when you're running spec series. When trying to pass a car that is as powerful and has the same grip as yours is always complicated if there isn't a driver error for the other.
Alberto, we're getting reports that your volume might be a little low on the microphone, so you could bring it a bit closer to you. Perhaps that would.
I'll try now again. Maybe it's better.
It's a little better now.
Oh, it's a big off into cops. Right, see who that was, but someone was trying just a bit too hard here in the dying minutes of qualifying.
Well, I'm sure we'll be having quite a bit of that in a bit. So qualifying now is over in 1 minute. Then we will have a 10-minute period in which we will have warm-up. Oh goodness! Peter Hlavik almost lost the car, but that's another thing with this particular mod is that because and it's aided by these sausage curbs, it's very easy to get the car up on 2 wheels. Real quickly.
Also,
sorry, go ahead,
also
Jonathan.
the fact that you can't really, they won't really take being pushed too far either. You can drive them very much on the limit, but if you overstep the mark by just a little bit, you will, as you said, spin the car.
All right, well, let's go for a full lap now. We've got Mikael Janik here. He's coming through Woodcote, and you can see by the markings he goes over the start-finish line. This straight here is the same as it was prior to the 91 change to the track. Copse here is a little bit more of an open corner than it was previously. And now he's going to head into the Beckett's Chapel complex, which is a left, right, and then back left again. And these progressive curves are sharper as you go. So you start out quick going through them and then slowly come down. Now he comes out of Beckett's into Chapel, accelerating down the Hanger Straight. Now normally you'd be doing 2 right-handers here on your way to Abbey, but it's different in 1991. Go into the right hanger here at Stowe, and it keeps going. It doesn't. It goes more of a 120-degree bend. Now you go into a very tight left and right. Oh goodness! He just went straight on. Oh no! Well, there goes that.
I guess he gave up the lap.
He gave it up. I got hit into the bear. Okay. Well, let's see if we can find somebody else who's in that vicinity. No, not there. I'm looking for a car that's reasonably close.
I think.
Who?
I think we'll have to do that in warm-up because no one else is out on track.
Oh well, we'll have to go to warm-up then, I guess. That's unfortunate because the lap was going well and then he just straight lines it. Okay. Oh, real quickly, I'll give the question, the trivia question, and then we'll have the answer at the end of the race. The trivia question is, what was the original purchase price for a Jaguar XJR15? Was it A, £250,000, B, £500,000, or C, £7,500,000? So you have 250,000 pound increments there. We will have the answer after the race. So we're moving to the warm-up session here, which is going to last 10 minutes. I'm trying to think to myself who I would think would be a good bet in this race, but I don't know. It's going to be tough. I'm not entirely sure who I would bet on.
Yeah, the top four are obviously good candidates. Austin Johnson, because he's blistering quick. David Jacks, because he is one of the most regular drivers. Steve Parker, because he's also a regular and someone that you can always count on him as a dark horse. And then Yves Placé, because he's a master when it comes to handling heavy cars.
I'd say my money is probably on Steve Parker, because he's proven before that he's very, very quick in spec series. He won the championship series. Can't remember what we called it a couple of years ago, but he won the spec series being run of I think it was 8 or 10 previous champions.
The IROC.
Ah yes, thank you, the IROC series. 2 years ago when we ran it for different series winners over the years, and that was quite impressive from him.
All right, well, first car out of the box was Yves Placé. So we'll pick him up as he comes around on the front straightaway here and go for a full lap with him. Now he's about at the spot where Peter Hlavik straight-lined the car. So and he makes it through okay this time. So or he did. So we'll get a full lap here hopefully. Oh man, he loses it going into. Oh shoot!
Not the first driver to have done
that.
that.
No. I mean, you have to be very gingerly with the brakes, otherwise the back will swing around. It's not hard at all. All right, let's see. And he goes to the garage. So let's find somebody else here to give us a full lap. Okay, here we go. Here's Mikael Janek.
We have Jakob Fröksson as well, just ahead of him.
Oh yeah, here we go. Okay, here's Fredriksson. Thank you. Coming through the start-finish line, hits the start-finish line. This is going to be one full lap now of Silverstone. Coming down to Kops, and as I mentioned before, this turn is a little bit more open than it was prior to 1991. You don't want to get on that rumble strip though, because then that'll screw up that corner real bad. Now into the Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel complex, and this is getting progressively slower as you go through. You can carry a lot of speed in here, but if you're not careful, you can get out of shape. This is...
This last one is particularly a killer. It's so easy to get it wrong.
Yeah, coming through Chapel now, left-hander. Now you accelerate down to Stowe via the hangar straight.
Where it's very easy to mess up the braking point into here.
Well, yeah, but, these cars require more space than, say, an F1 car would. And you could see he was wiggling there under braking. Now you exit Stowe at a sharper angle, obviously, than the previous time this track was run in F1. Now you go into the very tight left and right club section. Very easy to get the car on two wheels here, because if you could clip that left-hand sausage thing that's laid out there that looks like a curb. Exiting club, Abbey is the same as previously. You just try to take it flat if you can. And he is not going to do that here. Then here's the part where they excavated. Going to the bridge. Then coming up to a double left-hander. First one's a little faster than the second one. Yeah, this one he's taking it down to second gear. Then you head for another right-hander, which actually is faster than it looks, and this second right-hander here will lead you into Woodcote. And that is one lap of the revised 1991 Silverstone circuit. I tried to visit this place one time, but apparently we picked a day to visit when it was closed. And we had some ornery Englishmen telling us to get lost. So that was a number of years ago. It would have been in this configuration too.
That's unfortunate.
Oh well, what are you gonna do? We may have been close to a day where they had an event going on, but as we like to say sometimes, close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. If Scott were here, he'd appreciate that. That sounds like something he would like. All right, so where are we at now? With the warm-up, 5 minutes until the start of the race. I mean, it's still early days. Those of you who follow the Gold Star series on the forum itself know that the point system is based on how long a race lasts. Given that this is a 20-lap race, I would say that the points are probably going to be 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 again. And then the next Gold Star race after this one is the Indianapolis 500, which obviously will pay a lot more points. So these two first events in the Gold Star really are just kind of appetizers for the main events coming later, I guess you could say.
And very different ones, because this is pure road racing, while we will be having oval racing. And you could say to a big extent that whoever is our Gold Star champion will show certainly to be a very versatile driver.
Yeah, certainly that could be the case. And I mean that is the spirit of the series, is that you should be a driver that has versatility, because there's different stuff going on. I mean, the only real consistent thing we're going to have is going to be the Triple Crown races, Indy, Pocono, and Ontario. By the way, I'd like to give a shout out real quickly to our friends on the forum. We released the 1974 USAC mod for testing, and there's been a lot of really helpful feedback from everybody with regard to small little things that we want to address before we go on the server. Most of them are not really difficult things to address, but they're little niggling things that you know, inevitably get overlooked. So by giving that feedback, everybody's ensuring that we're going to have a high-quality event. So just wanted to say thanks very much for everybody's assistance. We really appreciate it, and we're definitely looking forward to an exciting month of May. We saw a few people, though, too. I didn't realize that you were going to do that, Alberto, but putting Bob Wilson's name in the pace car was a very nice touch.
Oh yes, we already talked about this sometime earlier, last year. And we agreed that in all the pace cars, in all the mods that we would be doing from now on, we would set him as pace car driver, because somehow it's fitting to see him set the pace.
Yep. Oh, and yeah, and we're going to have our usual awards given out this year for the 500 as well. Obviously, we'll have the trophy that we will send to the winner. We will also have Rookie of the Year honor, the Jigger Award winner for the guy who has the hardest luck, guy or girl that has the hardest luck in the month of May, and the Bob Wilson Award, which is essentially our sportsmanship award, given to the person who exhibits the greatest sportsmanship during the month. So lots to look forward to coming up here. It's hard to believe that we're already coming up on May. Essentially, the year is a third of the way over. Time flies. And there you can see.
That's what you get when you are working hard on the mods.
Yes, very much. Eves seems to be getting comfortable with his car now. I know he was not exactly comfortable earlier. He was talking about it on the forum, but watching him now, he seems to be letting the car hang out really nicely, and
yeah, he had been having force feedback problems, and that's obviously something that always will kill.
Oh man, just look. just looking now at the inside of his car where he's got the, oh, look out, Neebs. He had the thing all the way steered in opposite lock and was keeping it going in the previous, I think it was when he was exiting Stowe. Fantastic.
Great to watch, but it's, oh dear.
Oh no!
Not exactly the quickest way around the track, unfortunately.
Well, best to get this stuff out of the way now.
Very much so.
Mm-hmm.
And look at Steve Parker, he's under 2 minutes.
Yeah, Steve, I think Steve's another guy to watch. I think you might have mentioned it before, so correct me if I apologize if I'm repeating something that Alberto already said, but Steve Parker's a guy who is very good at, extremely good at driving cars that are heavy. And these would probably, let's say ungainly. All right. The warm-up.
I gotta add, you haven't beaten me in the Mustang yet.
That's true. All right, warm-up has concluded now, so we're going to be moving to the race session very shortly. And this is going to be a rolling start. So we'll have a game-controlled pace car giving the rolling start, and from there it will be 20 laps uninterrupted. No yellows, so this ought to be a really interesting, quick event. There's that siren. So our pole sitter is Austin Johnson. I'll go through the whole grid once everybody's rolling. Waiting for the cars to appear on the grid now.
Of course, there is about a minute for them, I believe, to join, so...
That's true. All right, they're getting on the grid now. And of course, again, all these cars look alike, so I'm going to leave the... it's very difficult to tell who's who. We've got live timing going at the same time, so we'll be able to tell you what happens. So the cars are now on the grid. We have 14 drivers in this race. There were a maximum of 16 we could have. All right. All right. They are now going off on their parade lap. My goodness, that Camaro might want to have its A-arms checked.
Or steering column.
Or steering column, one or the other. So, on the pole, we have Austin Johnson. Trying to find a view here that's... and he's driving, let's see if I see, I'm trying to find a view here where we actually see the number of the car. Well, at any rate, Austin Johnson starts first.
Number 3.
Number 3. Second place is second is David Jakes on the outside.
Number 7.
Car number 7. Yeah, actually, it's in the names of it now. Third is number 16, Steve Parker. Fourth is Yves Placé. Very, very appropriate. Yves, a Frenchman, he's driving Bob Wallach's XJR15. Fifth is Ray Radal in number 12. Sixth is Dave Miller in number 15. Seventh is Brian Janik, the Detroiter. I like how he's now known as the Detroiter, thanks to Timo. Number 9, because I'm a Detroiter too. Mick Chapman is driving car number 1. Hello, Mick. Ninth, we have Jakob Fredriksson in car number 14. 10th is Mikael Janik in car number 6. 11th, Juha Boss in car number 2. 12th, we have Jason Whitehead in car number 11. 13th, Peter Hlavik in car number 5. And rounding out the field, Felipe Enrique, a late joiner, in car number 10.
You were missing today Pascal Mikula, who apparently was not able to make it in time.
I think he might have, no, I think he relinquished his car, actually.
Ah, true.
All right, so the pace car...
Yeah, that's Ryan himself who said he found the car a bit too undrivable and resigned at the last moment.
Okay, so the pace car is now bringing the cars into the bridge turn. And one thing to keep in mind here, because these turns are very, very open as far as the grass around them. There's not a lot of guard railing here, so it's very easy if you're not careful to shoot through a turn, you know, and clip one, and there are warnings that are going to be given to the cars if they don't get this right. I think there's 3 warnings until you end up going into the pits. So here we come. All right, so they're coming off of the turn now. The pace car will head for the pits, and we're going to have round 2 of the Gold Star race. Jaguar XJR 15s, 14 cars equally matched. Johnson's bringing them down, waiting for the start of the race. Well, that's interesting. Has the race started? It doesn't appear that it has. That's odd. There's still... Okay, clearly...
I wonder if the game in the way the files are set up that they have to do a whole lap without a safety car.
Well, we'll be finding out at some point here, because the clock is still at 0. So perhaps that's the case. Maybe they need to do a full lap without the safety car. This is actually the first rolling start that we've done with AMS, so we're kind of in virgin territory where that's concerned anyway, so we'll just let them continue around.
Looks like it's set to... the names are yellow, so I think they need to do one more lap like this before the race gets underway.
All right, well, we'll see what happens when they come around this time. If it does not go green, then clearly there is something wrong, and we will have to we'll have to take care of it. But cars are staying in formation. They're about a halfway around now. Live television, folks. Can't beat it. All right, coming down now towards Abbey. It's interesting, too, with these cars, when you look at the paint schemes where they added these flashes of color. I guarantee you that was a choice made after the Monaco race where they ran these, because they were just their plain purple livery with only the numbers. And it must have been incredibly hard for people to know who was who. So at least with a little bit of color difference, you have some ability to recognize one car from another.
Yeah, there were obviously also the sponsors interested in having the stickers.
Yeah, some of them actually do carry specific sponsors. These cars, it's not exactly the same as an IROC situation. All right, here we go. Now I'm going to watch the clock in the corner of the screen. Let's see if we get to start this time. As they come around, Johnson on pole. And the race is underway.
Let's get cracking here, shall we?
Well, we've got a stop-and-go penalty already for Mick Chapman. Apparently he was out of line for the start of the race, which I suppose is a danger in these cars. Austin Johnson leads. Austin Johnson leads into the the Maggots, Beckett's, and Chapel section. Here they are coming through. Johnson, Jakes, Parker, Place. Only a 14-car field here.
Looks like Chapman was way behind somewhere, because he's coming around onto the hangar straight now, and he's the whole straight behind everyone else. Ah, okay.
Oh, someone was spinning there also. The third qualified was that?
Steve Parker, this.
Oh my goodness, Steve Parker has definitely had an issue of some kind. Let's have a replay of this. See what happened here. Steve Parker apparently with a spin. Send her your picture there. coming into the club. Oh, Stowe. Oh, yes, he just got a little bit sideways. Oh, my goodness. He was very lucky not to get plowed into by all the cars behind him. Wow. That was, and he's, well, no, he's continuing. That was just a ping. All right, well, good. He has continued on. Meanwhile, Austin Johnson and David Jakes is up to second place. Yves Placé down to third. So it looks as if we're going to have a battle brewing here between David Jakes and Austin Johnson. Okay, as they come across the line, we are now into lap 2. The lap counter did not change previously, so we are doing 20 full laps. Apparently, I'm going to venture that somebody might have been out of line and they made the cars go around again. Perhaps.
Perhaps, yes.
Perhaps that's what happened. So, Austin Johnson from California. He's letting that car hang out really nicely as he comes through the maggots section. David Jakes hanging right with him. Yves Placé in third. Looks like a good battle developing for fourth between Fredriksson and Ridal.
See if I could try to move on Felipe Enrique going into maggots and came unstuck. Yeah, that's Steve. He tried to move on Philip and got unstuck into maggots.
Riding on board now with Jakob Fredriksson, who's closing in on Ray Ridal. This is probably one of the best battles at the front right now. But you see how difficult, ooh man, Ridal gets his left wheel up on one of the curbs there. It's very easy to get these cars out of shape if you touch a curb. So this is something these guys are going to have to be very careful about. Ooh, Ray runs wide, exiting club. And now they're coming up to Abbey. Oh, and Jakob is able to go through there, just feathering the throttle. Other people are having to lift going through there, not Jakob. Oh, Ridal goes onto the grass here. There may be an opportunity in a moment for Fredriksson. Oh, man, he's getting close there, coming along the outside of Ray Ridal's car. Can't get it done. Fredriksson was our champion of the kart series, I believe, in that excellent three-way battle with Grant Ridal and Peter Blom. But here he is, or was it Yunt, I believe?
Jakob Fredriksson was the champion in which
Kart 88.
Good God.
Kart 88, yeah. My brain is Swiss cheese these days too. In any case, these guys look like, ooh man, they're having a pretty good time out here, not getting too nutty. It looks like they're just kind of feeling their way through at the moment and not doing anything too stupid. But back here, actually further back in the pack, it's quite close racing going on between Juha Boss and Brian Janik, the Detroiter, Mikael Janek and Jason Whited. These guys are all running really close together. Oh, look at this. Here comes Juha trying to overtake Brian Janik. Doesn't quite get it done. He had an inkling to overtake him, but he just didn't quite have it there. You can see the inside of these cars too. How not only the body is carbon fiber, but basically the entire interior is carbon fiber. Oh, Juha gets sideways, and that's gonna. Oh, he lost a couple of positions there, but he's able to keep the car going straight. These cars are.
Why did gain 2 in that?
Yeah, these cars really, you could argue they are at their most difficult to drive at low speed as opposed to high speed. I don't know.
There's a lot of torque there.
Mm-hmm.
So in short gears, that's always going.
Oh, Mikael Janek runs wide. Juha gets one position back. Although Mikael Janek's on the inside. No, Juha's going to be able to make it stick. We got another yellow flag going here.
Oh, we have Ray Ridal is spun.
Ray Ridal. Yeah, there it is. Ray Ridal has an issue, but he's getting going again. My goodness.
The late great Leslie's automobile.
Yes.
Does Brian Janik also putting some pressure on Dave Miller?
Yes, Dave Miller running in 5th place. We believe his girlfriend, also known as Mrs. Dave, is watching. So here's Dave Miller getting some good TV time, running in the top 5 with my countryman Brian Janik closing in on him. See what Janik can do with him. Janik is a regular in both our F171 and Can-Am series, doing quite good for himself this year.
Elson Johnson has already opened quite a gap to David Jackson.
My goodness, he has.
And I can tell you the model reflects very accurately the degradation of the rear tires, so we can expect the cars to be a real handful towards the end of the race.
Yes, the track rubber condition for this race has been set to medium. We were having issues earlier with it not performing the way we wanted it to, so we set it to medium and have it stayed there because it's a 20-lap race. It wouldn't change much over 20 laps, and it was a mid-weekend race, so that it would make sense for it to be medium. But in any case, I love how the cars get airborne as they go into the bridge turn there, as the track drops out from underneath them.
So Wright Riddle has quit.
Oh, that's too bad.
Meanwhile, Steve Parker, after his situations earlier on, is up to 11th and I believe closing in on Peter Lavac at the moment.
And Michel Janak is capitalizing on an error by Juha Boss and just overtook him, but...
Oh, yep, there they are going into... Oh, Janik is not happy. Something happened there. He's flashing his lights at a... Let's take a look at a replay of this. As they're going through, there's something, obviously, that he was not a fan of. Oh, I see. Juha got out of shape. And then here comes Janik on the outside, going to overtake, makes it through cleanly. Juha doesn't want to give up, and oh, maybe there was a bit of contact there, and that's what Mikael was not happy about.
Well, they're still dicing it.
No doubt. Back to live action, and Juha's back out, has pulled out a little bit of a gap now. Meanwhile, here's Brian Janik trying to work on Dave Miller still, and Dave holding his own. Swings out a bit wide, going into the exit of Stowe, now into the club complex. Janik having a look. And
I think that's more trying to unnerve Dave into a mistake rather than him going for a move.
Yeah, he's basically just... Sorry?
Juha Boss was just speeding, but he managed to catch it in the end. So he almost lost his position.
When he's still at it. Rear end kicking out quite a few times going through.
Oh yes,
out the club.
He's going through Abbey now, and that's a part of the course. Oh man, he's really fishtailing coming out of Abbey. He's having to really be careful.
Well, it's very easy to do that right there because you're on the throttle over a crest, and the car just gets a little bit light over that crest. So very, very easy for the rear end to come out more than you expect.
Oh goodness, so coming out of that corner, it looks like he's having to take it easy in these lower speed sections, and that's especially after the last lap. Mikael's looks like this is the... Oh, he runs onto the grass now, so Mikael now has a real chance. Comes on the inside, gets him.
So Lavac coming as well.
Lavac as well, so Juha is going to lose 2 positions here, it looks like, just by running on the grass there. Goodness.
Peter was the champion of this series.
Ooh, look out, look out, look out. Yeah, Peter, we ran 2 races of this mod like 2 years ago as Gold Star races, and Hlavik won both of them. So yeah, he's very comfortable in these cars, even though converting to AMS, my goodness, Peter Hlavik, as we're just talking about him, getting 2 wheels up in the air going into Beckett's, now through the Chapel curve. So Hlavik enjoys these cars very much, and even with the changeover to AMS, I'm sure he's finding them to his liking.
And just a little bit behind him is Steve Parker making his way back up the field, up into 10th. And
oh, Hlavik gets sideways again through Stowe, and this is going to be a chance for Juha to get the position. They're coming up to club. Maybe he'll try. No, he's not going to do that. But definitely. Oh goodness, more agricultural driving at the front there. These cars are not only fun to drive, but fun to watch. That's interesting. Looks like one car pulling to. That's an odd line there for. What's going on there?
oh, that's Felipe Enriquez off the track in the gravel trap.
Uh-oh.
Looks like he's stuck as well.
Yeah, these cars, once they get stuck in the gravel trap, you're basically done. You can't get out of it. So, yeah, Juha is basically in a Hlavik-Parker sandwich now. They have Steve Parker's now up to 10th place.
Jakob Frederiksen's out of the race as well.
My goodness, how did that happen? You're right, he is. He DNF'd, and it was very sudden. Perhaps it was a disco of some kind. Unbelievable. Well, at any rate, that promotes David Miller to 4th place now. So the order is Johnson, Jakes, Place, Dave Miller, Brian Janik, Jason Whitehead, Mikael Janik, Peter Hlavik, Juha Boss, Steve Parker, Mick Chapman, and Felipe Enrique. Only 2 cars out of the race so far, and we're coming up to a little less than half distance now in this race. It's only a 20-lap race.
Because Peter Hlavik is really looking at Michal Janak.
Oh yeah, he is. Absolutely. Coming into, Mikael taking a defensive line, but it didn't work out. The car slips out to the outside. Here comes Hlavik up the inside. No, it didn't work.
Even though he didn't lose the place, he's
oh, look at this up the inside of Club. Oh, there's contact! Contact! Oh, and these guys behind them are the benefactors. My goodness, my goodness. Oh, the game throws up a yellow flag, you think?
Well, the biggest benefactor of that was Steve Parker. He suddenly was given 3 positions.
More yellow flags. I believe that's Janik. Janik falling way down the order, down to 9th place. So something happened with him.
Oh, he's way off the track.
Way off the.
In the kink going down to the bridge, he lost it over the crest.
Let's take a look. Here's the replay of what happened on the inside of Dave Miller, and they both get sideways. My goodness. Well, we didn't quite get to see everything there because we can't see it, but my goodness. Whatever happened there, it caused Jason Whitehead to promote himself to. Let's get back to, Enrique is now in the garage area as well. Meanwhile, okay, Austin Johnson leading. He's checked out. David Jakes in 2nd. Place running 3rd. Those guys are pretty much alone. Then you've got Jason Whitehead and Dave Miller. So Jason Whitehead benefited from that contact between Dave Miller that we unfortunately didn't see with Steve Parker. I'm sorry, not Steve Parker, with Brian Janik. So now it'll be we'll see if Dave Miller can counterattack here. He's still within striking range, but it looks like there's more action going on back here between Mikael Janik and Peter Hlavik. These two are not finished yet.
They are, of course, good friends.
Oh, he did it again! He ran wide, exiting Stowe because
White at the moment. Oh, Miller's off to the inside.
Oh no!
Okay,
Dave Miller, still in 5th. But he's got a car right alongside him. Who is that? It is Mikael Janik.
No,
it's Steve Parker. No, you're right. It's Steve Parker now up to 5th place. So Steve Parker, after his disastrous lap 1, is able to get back up into the top 5. That's so impressive with these cars. We've got another yellow flag. Yves Place spins. My goodness.
That puts Steve Parker in fourth position.
You know, Steve's now in fourth. Dave Miller up to fifth. Mikkel Janik sixth. Peter Hlavik in seventh. My goodness.
It's really a pity that Steve was out on lap one, because he could have given Austin Johnson a run for his money.
On board now with Dave Miller, coming through the Woodcote turn next, ready to start lap number 9. So we're already almost about at half distance. In one more lap, we'll be at half distance.
And the top 2 has checked out. When
Yeah, they're
Yates,
gone.
Exited onto the Hanger Straight.
Yeah, they're
White was crossing the start-finish line.
Yeah, they're going to be having bangers and mash at the local pub while these guys are still completing the final lap.
Oh,
Whoa!
yeah,
Looked for a minute like Dave had a bit of a moment going into Maggots, but he's keeping the car going straight. And we still have a battle going on between Janik and Hlavik. And Janik is still doing that very strange line coming out of turns where he enters the turn slightly off apex. Look at that. See, he's taking a completely different line than other people. He's trying to drive defensively, but with these cars, I don't know if that's the best way to go.
And it seems that Lavak can make it stick this time.
I don't know. He's way out there. Nope. Peter Hlavik gets by. I figured eventually that would cause Peter to get by, because that's I don't know. With these cars, you can't quite do that. At least I wouldn't think you could.
Well, he cut it very close coming out of there, but made it work.
Steve Parker pulling out a bit of a gap now on Dave Miller. And Jason Whited has got a decent gap now. So the front 3 are basically gone. The real race is for third place.
And also, thank you to one of our viewers who gave us a bit of a random fact. The Jaguar XCR 15 was actually used as a safety car at the 1991 Macau Grand Prix.
Oh, it was. I did not know. I did not know that. Other people who know history of this car will tell you that it actually had a second life as a Nissan. Later on, it was torn down and became the understructure of a Nissan racing car.
390, I believe.
Yeah. And these cars are fabulously rare. They apparently only made 50 or so of them, and that was it. But
they were done for this race specifically. I mean, it's the same cars that were raced here that were later given to the people as street cars.
Yeah. And it wasn't like the IROC series in the sense that an entity owned the cars and picked people to drive them. These cars were bought by private investors, and then they found drivers for them. So these cars were not, so to speak. What do we?
Juha Boos had a spin, fighting with these Placé. Oh, a nice recovery there, though. Fantastic recovery.
Oh, there he is. Let's have a look at the replay. They're coming through Cops. It's on the brakes a bit. Oh, I see what happened. He ran over a curb going into... oh, is he going to have contact there? Ooh! Oh, that's cool. He managed to get the car righted and out of. He didn't go into the gravel trap, and he avoided hitting anything. That's nice.
Actually, Yves Placé let him back by, so I assume Yves felt he had something to do with that. So
well, it looked as if part of what initiated that problem for Juha is that he clipped one of the curbs heading into Maggots, and that unsettled the car. Because on the following turn, he was way out of place where he should have been. But this is interesting.
Case, he has Mick Chapman on his toes now.
Yeah. Now he's got Mick Chapman on his back bumper, but we got a third car behind them now. I'm trying to.
It's actually Juha Boos in front, Yves Placé, and
yeah,
then
it's Juha, Placé, and then Chapman. That's right.
So Placer let him by because I'd assume Eves may have felt that he didn't give him quite enough room in the first
Must have.
little left hand, and that's why he went out of shape. It looks like Steve Parker is preparing to mount an attack on Jason Whited pretty soon here.
Yeah, it won't be long. He's pulled out a decent gap now in Dave Miller, so he doesn't have to worry about him at the moment. And now, oh yes, Whited looks like his back tires are starting to give out there because he was a little bit squirrely coming out of Stowe as they come into the club complex. Yeah, he's definitely closing. Looking right up the back end of Whited now as they exit club. Oh, yep, Whited's having issues with grip, and now Parker coming down the inside here of the exit of club. He's on the wrong place really to get him in Abbey, but there he goes. He makes it happen.
Cutting it very close towards the outside though. But
yeah, very. But
Whiten may have let him go.
He might have. Let's have a look at the replay of that because we saw it from inside. We didn't really see what happened as far as. I'm going to actually switch view to Whited for this one. So here's Whited at Abbey, and what did he do coming up to here? Yeah, he let him by. He lifted and let him by. Apparently he realized that discretion was better part of valor there.
Well, he did go by when he saw Yannick and Dave Miller off, so possibly he didn't want a repeat of that incident.
True.
For himself in that area.
And we're
West White is sideways again through Cubs.
Yeah. Well, we were past that distance now. We got 8 laps to go. So definitely this is the point. Alberto, would you agree that tire degradation is becoming a situation?
It is, and we're seeing it very clearly on screen.
Good. Yeah, that's what I figured.
For their lives with the cars.
Yep.
Except for one driver by the looks of things, who is Austin Johnson. He's just flying. He's opened up probably double the gap to.
Yeah, but that's also
Yakes
probably the case that when you're able to drive on your own, you don't have to punish the tire so much.
And these cars are easier to drive when you just have to focus on driving your car and not worry about what other people are doing around you. That's another thing. So it looks like these guys have a bit of a respite here. Whited settling into 4th place. Dave Miller is another 8/10 behind, and looks like he's starting to catch up a little bit. So maybe Dave will be able to mount a challenge versus Whited before the race is over. We'll see.
Juan Yuabos has retired from the race in the meantime.
Chapman is closing in on Peter Hlavik here. I'm sorry, it's Yves Placé after Yves had his spin. So perhaps Mick Chapman can advance a position here.
Certainly want to give it a try.
Definitely coming into club. Oh, Placé losing grip. It seems to be a thing that everybody's dealing with now, losing grip coming out of club. Now he's got a great opportunity here coming into Abbey. If he can go through here flat, maybe he can get him on the bridge turn. He feathers it. So he's dealing with, I guess nobody's taking Abbey flat anymore. Into the bridge turn. Both of them really well in control, just clipping the white line on the left-hand side. Now into this. Oh, goodness! Oh, Placé spins! Chapman goes up into 8th place.
He almost did a Sullivan, but
oh, man. Well, Yves is making the highlight reel for probably not the reasons he wants to, but certainly having an exciting race. Like we could say that. Chapman now up to 8th place. Yannick is 7th. Peter Hlavik
putting some pressure now on Jason Whited.
See, I figured that would happen. Here comes Dave Miller now. Getting another shot here at Jason Whited. Oh, and he may have an opportunity here before we thought he would. Jason. Oh, the back end slipping out for Jason Whited. Okay. Now we see an opportunity here. Dave Miller, they're coming through Abbey. Let's see how he can do. He's feathering it like everybody else because obviously the cars won't handle that flat out. Going into the bridge turn. Jason Whited onto the grass. Yeah, he's definitely struggling with that car. His tires are definitely cooked. Coming through the double left hand now, so Dave could be looking at a fourth place here if he's able to keep the car pointed straight, because Jason's clearly struggling with that car. This is another.
Looks like Dave is taking it a little bit easy, either expecting White to spin altogether,
maybe,
or is just looking up to his
maybe.
tires.
We don't know what kind. We didn't have a good view of that incident that he had earlier. So with Janik, so we don't know. We're not sure whether. I mean, for all we know, he could be running with some damage. We don't know. We'll have to talk to him after the race.
For now, that has been lucky because Peter Lavak was coming very quickly from behind, though he made an error and ended in the gravel trap for some time because he's back in the race. But that has given Dave some breathing room.
Miller.
That also means he's got Janek for close company once again.
Yeah.
Dave Miller coming through the chapel curve. Looks like he's got a little bit more room now, but oh goodness, there's a battle developing back here. Another one, Peter Hlavik and Mikael Janek, or I'm sorry, Mick Chapman. Or no, wait, it is Mikael Janek.
Yeah, Janek has caught up with him again because Lavak.
Oh, good. Oh, Hlavik, yeah, okay, here we go.
Yeah, it's interesting because Janek has been locking wheels probably more than any other driver.
Oh!
So his tires should be quite squared now. But still, he has a very good pace.
Hlavik's tires, only tires in the academic sense. They were round. They were once made of rubber. And Janek very clearly sizing them up as they come into Abbey.
Yeah, he's clearly smelling the blood in the water.
I love how they have to tiptoe through Abbey at this point. There's such artistry involved in that. You cannot just barrel through there, and you can't just lift and expect the car to be okay. You got to. Oh! Hlavik showing him the inside line there, like, I dare you to go down there. He doesn't do it.
Ooh, I'm starting to get feels of 1992 BTCC, Cleland versus Stoper. If this.
Oh! Hlavik getting sideways.
Close.
Janek, yeah, he was. Janek clearly has more speed in him. Look at the car fishtail. Hlavik doing everything he can to hang on to that thing. Coming into cops.
He probably overheated his tires when he went off and tried to recover.
Oh, coming out towards.
Just
man,
worse and worse.
I'll tell you what, guys. I miss these cars.
Jason White just went out of the track.
Oh no!
He is way off.
Yeah, or wait, let's see.
Oh,
yeah.
I hope he's not beached.
And
okay,
Miller,
he can get
Miller
going
goes
again.
up to fourth position thanks to that. He put.
All right, here's the replay. Here's the replay. Dave Miller coming on the. This is at Cops, coming through. He's very close to Jason White at this point. They're coming up to Maggots, Beckett's, and Chapel. I'm guessing this is where. Oh my goodness, he just runs almost clear on. So grip definitely an issue for Jason White. Dave Miller goes up to fourth place, and yeah, you're right. It looks as if he's beaching it, but oh my good, he was very lucky to not be beached there. But he then loses 2 more positions. That's a really good.
And overheated tires, so he's lost even more time since then.
My goodness.
Oh, he's off the track.
He's off the track again at Club.
That's very well done in the mod. I mean, you can overheat the tires. We've seen that with the comebacks that people are experiencing. You can overheat the tires and drop like a stone, but then if you cool them down, you are able to actually make your lost ground back up.
Meanwhile, the battle between Hlavik and Janek rages on as they come into the 2 left-handers after the bridge turn. Once again, Janek having a look up the inside. We originally wanted to run the Spa race with these cars, but unfortunately, there is no Spa available in AMS. That's the correct year. But man, having seen how exciting this race is, it makes me want to go find the track in some other mod and see if I can get it converted. Because good grief, this is fantastic racing.
Yeah, Spa in these cars is awesome.
Coming into Copse again. We'll see if, I mean, Yannick is definitely, oh, Hlavik's back end definitely stepping out there. This is another case of just waiting for an opportunity here because Hlavik's car clearly he clips the curb going into Beckett's, or I'm sorry, Maggott's, now into Beckett's right now, and goodness. Oh, the back end's starting to come around. Ooh, look out!
Big kudos to Hlavic for holding on to that
yeah,
car.
he's really doing a good job hanging onto the car. Coming down to Stowe. Too far back, really, to have a go here, but he's definitely close.
He's looking for the run.
He is. Hlavic is driving Tiff Needell's car. We mentioned him earlier. Into Club. Ooh, man. Hlavic really slowing down, entering Club. These two are in pretty good control coming out. Ooh! Hlavic's car getting very loose, exiting Club. Oh, he's braking going into Abbey at this point. We haven't seen that yet. Or at least we haven't noticed it. Into the bridge turn.
Oh, almost ran.
Oh! My goodness.
Made a mistake on the exit, but
he did. Now he's.
Janak almost ran straight on the entry.
My God, these guys are just trying absolutely the best they can at this point. 4 laps to go now, and just so you know, you haven't missed much at the front. Johnson still is checked out. Jakes is in second. Parker third. Dave Miller is in fourth after Jason Whitehead's incident. And Peter Hlavic, that you're looking at from the view of Mikael Yannick's car, is in fifth. Yannick is in sixth.
News Place, who was at the front at the start of the race, is almost about to be lapped by Austin.
Well, I've been
the last few laps.
I drove in this series like a couple of years ago, and yeah, I ended up getting lapped once, and that's not fun. But we will definitely see what happens here with Mikael, because he's closing now on Hlavic again as they exit Chapel.
Whited off the track again. Massive movement
no.
through Beckett's.
Oh yeah, he's obviously, the car is just not handling well through there at this point.
It looks like his tires are completely cooked. There's no rubber left on them at all.
Okay, it definitely looks like Mikael Yannick is going to have another shot here. They're coming down to Club. Very early braking by Hlavic going into Club.
Well, he sort of has to.
He has to. Exiting now. This is where everybody seems to be losing grip right here. Yeah, he's losing grip on the outside of Club. Here's another opportunity. And he was braking going into Abbey. Look at Yannick very wisely positioning himself to the outside because he knows that Hlavic's going to feather the brakes at Abbey. Now on the inside. Here he goes down the inside. Brakes hard. Momentarily has the position. Hlavic coming back on the inside. They're nose to nose coming through. Hlavic takes the position back. Great racing. Fantastic.
Great driving by Hlavic.
I love it. I love it. This is Hlavic was absolutely four-wheel drifting through that corner. Now the two right-handers leading onto the straight before Woodcote.
And both power sliding out of the
yes, I know. Beautiful.
It was a ballet.
It was. And there's only 2 laps of this to go. I want more.
Well, there's more free weekends to come.
I know. We could definitely. And we haven't. Those who've seen the ones we've planned, we only have a couple of other cemented events for Gold Star at this point. So. Goodness, these two. I doubt the steering wheels are straight for about more than a couple of seconds in the car a lap.
It's only really here where they can actually relax a little bit down the hanger straight.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the only part of the track where you can really relax. The rest of it is just mindless sawing at the wheel. Oh, goodness. Peter gets way wide coming out of Stowe. Coming down to club now. Let's see. Lots of braking here. He takes a defensive line going into club. That's legal. Just one move there. He's not.
That's perfectly fine. It's just
Perfectly fine.
Yannick was going for the move, so he almost rear-ended.
Yeah, but Yannick had to have known that that was what he was intending. Now they're coming through Abbey. Oh, you can see how he has to. Yannick has to check up a lot going into Abbey because
he's sideways.
Sideways again. Well, he may not. No, he can't try what he did before in this lap. But look at how sideways Slavic is coming through. I'm surprised he didn't even touch the white line there. Now, Yannick just moves to the outside. All right, fine. I know I can't have that line, so I'll just go back over here.
Yeah, he locked the wheels and had to take evasive action.
Yeah.
Because he was coming in too hot.
This is fantastic. If anyone out there is interested in converting a period-correct Spa over to AMS, drop me a line because I want to see these cars again before the series is over or the season's over. This is too much. This is great stuff.
Even in the meantime, out in front and way ahead of everyone else, Austin Johnson's going through Abbey sideways. Heading towards the complex for the I believe final time of the race.
I believe this is his second to last lap of the race.
My apologies.
Yeah,
forget what I was saying.
Yeah, well, no, that's okay. The lap counter that is in the upper left corner of the screen, that's the lap they are on. Not necessarily, that's not laps completed. So he will be going into his final lap now as he comes through the Woodcote section. Austin Johnson absolutely just in a class of his own here. Starting his final lap.
Yeah,
Great.
he just completed 19 laps. That's
Yeah.
his final lap.
So now he's on his final lap, 20 of 20. Great effort from him. And he didn't get a lot of TV time, but really, there wasn't much to look at. He was just out in front the whole time. Meanwhile, David Jakes is starting his final lap, and he is four-wheel drifting it into the final corner here. So his car is certainly spent. Parker still running in third, and that is fantastic that Parker made it back to third. Dave Miller's in fourth, getting ready to start his final lap, and then you've got Yannick and Hlavik still. Oh, Hlavik is sideways. My goodness. Oh, there's contact. Hlavik and Yannick make contact. Yannick is through. Oh my goodness.
Not sure, he may wait for him. It looked
Maybe.
a bit on the edge, but difficult to see from the camera angle I had whether it was intended or if he moved over or not.
I don't think anything is intended at this point. I think a lot of what's going on is out of your control to some degree with these cars.
Yeah, that's the place he came into hot on the previous lap, and it has happened the same thing now, only that Lavak was in the way.
All right, so they are now into their final lap.
Lavach, I believe, has a slight run here. He had a
Possibly.
good run through turn 1 at least.
Ooh. Yeah, he may still have a run here.
Oh!
Oh no!
Wide.
Yannick goes like, oh, they're side by side. Hlavik back, and is, oh my goodness, the back end's fishtailing. Yannick's gonna have another shot coming down. Oh goodness.
Oh, as Johnson comes across the line to finish his race off with a win. Fantastic driver.
Yeah, the race is over, but not for these two. Goodness. Sorry we missed showing Johnson winning, but we gotta stay with this. This is too good. Down into God, these two are just. This is great. Okay, they're coming out of club for the final time. Yeah, Hlavik's got a 45-degree angle on that car coming out of club.
Jakes crosses the line second in the meantime.
Okay. Oh, braking going into Abbey again. Bridge turn. Hlavik really sideways. Yannick down the inside. Is he going for it? No. Hlavik, oh man, gets onto the grass. Yannick on the outside. Trying to get better purchase out there. Hlavik all over the place. Just try. Oh goodness! Hlavik, he was braking too soon for Yannick's taste, where he wasn't expecting it. Now they're coming another turn where the braking's a bit more than he thought it would be. Into the final turn. Oh my goodness, they're going to be side by side. This is just too much. I'm going to need a pacemaker after this race. Coming across the line now. Hlavik takes the position. Wow. That was great.
Fantastic battle.
Awesome.
Gorgeous.
With the lights by Michal Janak.
Meanwhile, Mick Chapman's going to finish in 7th place.
Steve Parker, great recovery, finishes 3rd.
Yeah,
and
that's probably as fun as it
Hlavik
was.
is doing donuts as if he had won the race. He's so happy.
So your final results: Johnson wins it. David Jakes is in 2nd. Parker 3rd. Dave Miller finishes in 4th. Peter Hlavik 5th. Mikael Yannick 6th. Mick Chapman 7th. And Yves Plasse 8th. Jason Whited was the first car out of the race. Then Boss, Janik, Enrique, Fredrickson, and Radal. What an incredible 20 laps. That was fun, fun, fun. I love it.
Yeah, Spec
Oh,
Series
good God.
many times produced so great racing.
We've got to have another run with these cars. We have to. We need to. I'm going to make it my mission now. I mean, obviously, Indy is foremost on everyone's mind, both outside and inside the factory. But I'll tell you what, after that's done, I want to find that track and convert it, because this is just too much fun. Let's see if we can get some people in here into the, well, let's see, is anybody in the green room at this point? I don't see anyone in there. But, man, that's, I mean, I guess we expected that Johnson would do as well as he did, and Jakes as well. The driver of the race probably was Steve Parker after having the incident he did, and then he came all the way back to 3rd place. That was really impressive. But great fireworks in the rest of the race via Hlavik and Mikael Yannick. Fantastic. Okay, we got David Jakes coming into the green room now.
User was moved to your channel.
Mr. Jakes.
Evening, gentlemen.
2nd place for you in this race. Kind of a quiet race, I would guess, from the point of view of not having anyone around you. But we looked at you with a few laps to go, and the car definitely was losing adhesion at the back.
It was certainly a lonely race, and by the end there, yeah, there was nothing left. Probably used too much early. I can't believe Austin was able to keep up the pace that whole time, but that was fantastic by him. Couldn't touch him. Saw it early and tried to save some tires, but didn't save enough.
Yeah, you weren't alone in that respect. There were certainly people that you could pick out towards the second half of the race who had clearly used too much tires earlier, and it was biting them later on. So how do these cars? I believe you drove the mod when it was in R Factor, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so how does this version that's an AMS how does that compare?
I think just the newer platform gives you a whole different feel. Gives you more of a three-dimensional feel instead of a flat feel. You can, you know, bump up off a curb, get a little lift out of a corner, if you will, and it'll set back down instead of getting a little wonky in the physics on the edges of the tires. But definitely a real good feel. You got to be gentle with it, which is what these cars would require. You would expect. Just they're street-based cars that are heavy and have a pretty large ground clearance, high ride heights, and a lot of weight and a lot of weight transfer, body roll going on that needs to be managed, and I think it feels fantastic.
Cool. Well, we had some real fireworks towards the back of the field, or not the, I wouldn't say the back, but towards the middle of the field. Midfield, yes, midfield. Unfortunately, we don't have Yannick or Peter Hlavik here to talk about the very spirited battle that they had, which must have looked fantastic on the broadcast. We do, though, have Chapman, Miller, and Boss. They're not in the green room, but I'm going to play God and pull them in here and see if they want to.
User was moved to your channel.
Mick Chapman.
It's a wait.
Hey. Kind of a... You had like the $75 seat for a lot of the crazy battles going on in front of you there. How was your race?
I except for the stop and go from overtaking.
Oh, that's right. You had that. What predicated that? I'm curious.
I wasn't paying attention to the car that I was supposed to be behind. I was paying attention to the car that was directly in front of me and using him. I assumed if I stayed so far behind him, the guy to my left would be ahead, but alas not.
Well, in any case, you managed to bring it into the top 10 with these cars, which is not easy. I mean, especially the way that things develop. From your point of view, though, you must have had some spectacular view of the stuff going on in front of you.
Oh, so far back after my stop and go.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Is that me echoing? Is that something wrong with my...
No, that's Alberto's mic cutting through, I think.
Alright. No, I was 50 seconds behind last place, and I think it was only because Juha and Deves had some problems and they dropped back, so I followed them for a couple of laps. That was the only other cars I saw after my stop and go. But they made it easy for me. They made their own errors, and I just took advantage of it. So
taking advantage of OPP, other people's problems.
That's the one. Yep.
User was moved to your channel. User was moved to your channel.
All right, we got Miller and Boss both in here. How'd you guys do in the race? Dave, you took advantage of other people's problems to move up to 4th. Nice run.
Yeah, that was my plan for this one, was don't die. I knew the tires were going to go, so just try and hang on.
Well, you've got gold star points for yourself, and they're only 2. Obviously, there aren't going to be much because it's a short race. But going into Indianapolis, you might be able to tack on more with the help of the MVS boys. So we'll see how that
Certainly
goes.
Hope so. Looking forward to that one.
Yeah, we are too. We've also got Juha here. Lots of acrobatics in the back there, Juha, but looks like you guys were having fun nonetheless.
I was having a lot of fun, just lost concentration a few times too many, and then finally stuck it into a wall, which most than a Jaguar. That's where it ended for me.
Well, you should have.
Now Jason will tell us in the trivia the price of the car.
Oh yes, yes. You'll get to know how much money you owe TWR. Okay, going to the
well, since they've gone bankrupt, that doesn't really matter.
I know, but all right. The trivia question was to refresh everyone's memory: what was the original purchase price for a Jaguar XJR15? Was it A, £250,000 sterling, B, £500,000 sterling, or C, £750,000 sterling?
500.
All right. Was that Miller?
That was the guy who keeps on crashing.
All right. Anybody else have to? Anybody else?
No, knowing the way Jaguar works, I'd expect 750.
Yep, I go 750.
750.
Yeah, me too.
You're all going to go 750?
I'm going to go to the bottom end just to be different, but I don't think it's right.
Why not? It's just money anyway.
Well, the answer is 500,000. So most of you got that one wrong. Sorry.
All right,
500,000. That's before taxes, very likely.
Mm-hmm.
Or 20 years as CEO of Jaguar.
All right. Well, that was round 2 of the Gold Star race. Alberto, Jonatan, you have any questions of our racing stars this evening, or we can close out the
No, I think
broadcast.
they are exhausted enough and
Yes.
they want to go have a shower now.
Yes, most definitely. They got lots of upper body work this evening, sawing away at the wheel. Thanks very much, guys, for your comments and for giving us such a fantastic show. That was one of the best I've seen in a while. I really, really liked that. Hope you guys at home did too. The next broadcast we will be doing will be this coming Sunday, the next round of F171, which, by the way, the thread goes up immediately when we're done here, and that will be Zandvoort. I've driven the track myself. It's overcast. It looks really interesting, and I believe Brian Janik also did the cameras for that, in addition to David Saber doing conversions for us behind the scenes. So looking forward to that one, and then, of course, not long after that, Indy Time Trials, and then the 500. So for Jonatan and Juha, David Miller, David Jakes, and Alberto Ibañez, and Mick Chapman, this is Jason White saying so long from Silverstone.